Episode 1. The birth of a new medium, virtual reality meets art. Introduction. In this opening episode, we embark on a journey into the revolutionary world of virtual reality, VR, as it intersects with the art world. From its origins in science fiction and gaming to becoming a legitimate and groundbreaking medium for artistic expression, VR has transformed how we create and experience art. We will explore the early days of VR technology, meet the visionaries who saw its potential for artistic creativity, and understand how this new realm opened doors for endless possibilities in the art world. Segment 1. The early days of virtual reality. This section explores the birth of virtual reality, beginning with its invention and early applications. Viewers are introduced to the pioneers of VR technology, such as Jaron Lanier and Ivan Sutherland, who laid the groundwork for what we now know as VR. The segment touches on how VR was initially used for scientific simulations, military training, and video games, before a small but passionate group of artists began experimenting with its artistic potential. Interview with Jaron Lanier, VR pioneer. When we first developed VR, it was about creating simulations that could immerse people in a new world. But there was something more. I saw it as a medium for art, one that allowed creators to break free from the flat, two-dimensional constraints of traditional canvases. Segment 2. The first VR. Art installations. Next, we look at the moment when VR began to be used for art installations. Through the late 1990s and early 2000s, a small group of artists started experimenting with VR as a tool for creating virtual spaces and sculptures. Artists like Raphael Lozano Hemmer and Maurice Benayoun pushed the boundaries, creating installations that allowed viewers to interact with their art in groundbreaking ways. Interview with Raphael Lozano Hemmer. Interactive artist. What fascinated me about VR was the ability to create art that was no longer confined to the walls of a gallery. I could create an environment where the viewer was immersed, interacting with the art itself, shaping it in real time. It was art in motion, not just something static. Segment 3. VR and digital painting. The creation of virtual canvases. With the introduction of tools like Google's Tilt Brush and Quill, digital artists were able to step into a virtual world and create on a 360-degree canvas. The segment dives deep into how VR allowed artists to break the rules of traditional painting, moving away from the flat, confined space of the canvas to a limitless, immersive space where anything was possible. Artists could now create three-dimensional works of art that could be explored from every angle. Interview with John DeLuca, VR artist. When I first used Tilt Brush, it felt like I was sculpting with light. You could draw in the air, paint in 3 dimensions, and truly step inside your creation. That's what makes VR so exciting. There's no top or bottom, no boundaries. It's pure creativity in space. Segment 4. Overcoming challenges. The struggle for acceptance. While the technology was groundbreaking, VR art was initially met with skepticism by the traditional art world. In this section, we look at the challenges artists faced in getting their work recognized. The cost of VR equipment, the unfamiliarity of the medium, and the question of whether digital art could ever hold the same value as traditional forms all contributed to the hesitation. However, through persistence and innovation, these artists began to win over the art community. Interview with Dr. Sarah Kenderdine, curator and researcher. At first, there was a lot of hesitation. Museums were unsure of how to display VR art, and galleries didn't know what to make of it. But over time, VR began to be recognized as a legitimate medium in its own right. It wasn't just digital art, it was a new form of expression. Segment 5. The role of VR in today's art world. In the final part of the episode, we shift to the present day, where VR is firmly established in the art world. Museums around the world are now showcasing VR art. Digital art galleries are becoming more common, and VR artists are being invited to participate in major art fairs and exhibitions. We explore the growing acceptance of VR as a medium for art and the ongoing collaboration between technologists and artists. The segment also looks at the role of social VR platforms like AltSpace VR and Spatial, where artists can exhibit their works in shared virtual spaces, reaching a global audience. Interview with VR gallery curator. The future of art is virtual. Whether it's a VR painting, an interactive sculpture, or a 3D virtual world, the boundaries between art and technology are becoming increasingly blurred. This is just the beginning, and I can't wait to see where it goes next. Virtual reality is reshaping the world of art. offering creators a blank canvas with no limits. As the technology continues to evolve, one thing is clear: the art world is only just beginning to embrace the boundless potential of the digital realm. End of episode 1. The birth of a new medium. Virtual reality meets art. Leave a like, follow and comment.